second edition with Barry Higgins with a nice presentation about the defaults you should leave alone. Well,
Yes.
alone where? In the dark.
Yeah, a long way alone. Leave them well alone because.
I will start my timer.
Are you ready?
And good luck.
Hey, it should be. Oh. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Bon matin. How long can I keep this up? Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Barry, that's me. Thank you, Lorenzo. One of the three MikroTiks. Who am I? Yes, that's my name. Date of birth. Yes, apparently I'm a child of the hippie generation, thanks to my parents. Country of origin, England. We now say England because the Welsh like to be the Welsh, the Scottish like to be Scottish. There was a time when we were all one big happy family, but not so much these days. Europe got in the way. Trainer, that's me, TR0372, February 2016, a long time ago. Likes, not as long as Lorenzo, Jaromir, and Ron, but yeah, I'm nearly there. I like ice cream. That's why I'm at the MTPC. That's why we have ice cream. Dislikes, people who type in capitals. They're shouting. I had to tell somebody off the other day, please do not write to me in capitals because I will ignore you. Hobbies, I like hiking. Walk, 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 everywhere I go. MikroTik consultant since 2015. Consultancy is available. Email me. If you're not sure of my email address, I do have the usual cards and a pen if you want a pen, because everybody likes pens. If you try to call, because people do like to call me, you're more than likely going to get the answer machine. Please leave your name and address after the tone. Beep. Yeah, leave a message. Don't just leave a blank call. I will get back to you at some point. Other things, details, usual thing, there's the website. So that's the shameless plug number 1. Shameless plug number 2, I am a trainer, of course, since 2016. I do public sessions held in the UK and Ireland. There is some Irish contingency around here. Where's Tom? Is he still sort of, Yes, he was in the shackles last night. Don't ask. Private sessions can be arranged. Oh, yes, they can. All countries covered, so long as you want it in English. We only do English, I'm afraid. I do other bits of other languages, but to be honest, I'm useless at them. I also now have, since December 2024, a training center. Finally, I have my own place. It took a long time. Thank you, guys. It really is appreciated. It took a long time. I finally got there. Some of you may have come to training with me, and you'll have either been at the football ground where we're watching them cutting the grass every day while we're doing the training, and I was in various hotels, but finally, I now have my own place. These guys were the first big group that tested it out, and there they all are appreciating their certificates. They did the double. They did the MTCNA and the RE in 5 days, because we can do that. Shameless plug number 3. Not many more. I've been going now for 3.5 minutes. I'm all right. Yes, there is one. Finally, there is one. I was sworn to secrecy as to the date until now. Obviously, you've had the leaflets. Hopefully, you've read them. The 12th to the 20th of June, 2025. We will be there. Me. Menno, sadly, is not with us anymore. Me, Lorenzo, Ron, and Leo, and, of course, my wife. She is there, the mammy. Some of them refer to her because she looks after everybody while we're there, as in food, and making sure that she cleans up. She'll clean up after them, you name it. But we also have a new guy for 2025, introducing, and I hope I get his name right, Guilherme Ramirez. He will be with us from Brazil. Am I right with Brazil? I'm looking at Lorenzo, but he's obviously trying to do his presentation because he's not done it yet. But yes, Riga Boot Camp, Summer 25. There's the web address, 12th to the 20th of June, 2025. And I'm going to say this. I'm hoping there will be a winter one. If you want to win to one, I know Mo and there's been a few others. These are the guys. Go see the 3 MikroTiers. They will organise it. We will have the winter one for us. So, last little bit. Who hasn't heard of the bus? I asked the right question so you don't have to put your hand up. So you've all heard of it. Good. There it was. I know that's now new. They've changed it. They've got the new logo on the roof. That was the first thing they changed, and the first thing we realised, their branding's changed. It was on their roof. But it's now that. I've updated it. It's a red one. It won't be red for long because you can't hide red. When you're in the woods and you're trying to sort of be incognito, red does stand out a little bit, so I will be changing the colour of it. So yes, I was hoping to be here in it this year, but sadly no. It'll now be sometime, probably boot camp that will be there. Anyway, moving on, looking at the clock, because that clock is... it's tick, tick, tick. Coming up, what are we talking about? The defaults. Should you disable with a yes or enable with a no? I'm waiting. In your own time. A few of you got it. Yes, unfortunately, over the years with the development of MikroTik, some developers decided that disable equals no was the old way, and the new way is to say disabled with a yes is the other way. So if you're used to doing certain things like DHCP and so forth, the original stuff, you know they would use disabled equals no to switch it on. In the newer stuff, like say Roman, disabled equals no, or is it enabled equals yes? It's enabled equals yes. Well, your hard work this morning. Come on, a bit of little feedback will do. We don't want the questions at the end. I want the questions as we go along, because otherwise, it's like, I'm watching the time. No. In the early versions of version 7, who tested it? Right in the days of version 0, beta. Yeah. OSPF. How do we configure in the very early version? Yeah, badly was the word. What was missing in the very first version of it? Yes, spot on. Encryption, or the actual, sort of authentication. In the very first edition, there was no authentication, and it was all on the keyboard. There was no point, click, point, nothing like that at all. But I have to say, it worked, but you had to make sure that if you were trying to communicate with anything with version 6, switch off authentication, because there was no way. Although, let's be fair, authentication in version 6, MD5. Okay. So, there are many default values within router S, so this is where we're heading. And over the years, I must admit, I appreciate that most default values will at least make whatever it is you are configuring to work. They're there as a get you going. Generally speaking, don't mess with them, as you should be passing on to the guys that are less technical and less experienced. But over the years, and I will say thanks to one guy, I won't mention his name, who has definitely stretched me to the limit. Certain people in this room will know who I'm on about. However, sometimes they need tweaking, but more often they need to be left alone. Trust me, I have found settings on some routers that I didn't even know existed and gone, why? Why have they adjusted this? Why have they turned this off? Why have they turned it on? So, it's a short journey through some of the defaults that over the years have either caught me out, or more often, the clients that contact me have caught me out. Ever diagnosed the 2 default PPP profiles supplied in Router OS? Ever thought about them? I mean, if you've come to any of my classes or been students in my classes, then you're probably aware of this, but some may not. And I do find even the most experienced of us miss this. If you've never checked them out, default profile for non-encryption. What's it using for the encryption, MPLS, compression? What's it using? Default. They are set to default. Hang on. They are default. So if they are set to default, what is the value of the default? For those in the room that were not aware, because, guess what? I'm just about to... Because obviously there are people that will be watching the video. I don't want to tell them. But I will tell you guys. So I'm going to not whisper it because we are recording on the old microphone. I'm not saying it in front of the cameras. So please follow me. Hopefully the microphone won't suddenly go. But I'm going to come to the back of the room. There's your answer. That's what it actually is. So there you go. There'll be a few more of them, hopefully, if I can remember them as we go along. So yes, now you know. Did you know that? How many actually knew that was the answer? Why? Oh, hang on. Were you in my class? I know it's for the watching on the Tick, Tube, Nat, Snap, What, Boot, Reels, whatever. The answer is... So you were brave and you decided to want to upgrade your main ISP PPOE server concentrator to version 7. Oh, let's say 12 months ago. Who were brave enough? I'm looking, I just suddenly realized and remembered the phone call. Yes. Help! I've lost all my PPOE clients to my network. Oops. That was my reply. What a shame. Oh dear, invoices in the post. Here's the answer. PPOE server now has the following option. It was snuck in. It was, here you go. We're not going to tell you about it unless you read the change log and the millions of different options that were going on. And guess what? The default in the early days would be no tick. So, of course, you've upgraded from version 6 to version 7. You have thousands of PPOE clients. Gone. Where have they gone? Yes, thankfully, in the early versions, yes, the default was disabled, unticked for the accept empty service. It is now enabled or ticked by default for the new PPOE service. And it is enabled equals yes, I think. Or is it disabled equals, oh, I can't remember. You'll work it out. Another little quick one that I was caught by the other day, version 7.15, saw a new attribute in the radius settings. Anybody seen it? Know the one I'm on about? Silence. Require message auth. I suppose in today's security and everything else, really, that should have been there a long time ago. But it's only just been thrown in. Required message auth, yes, for request. That's the default. So all of a sudden, quite a few client phone calls over the last couple of months, our radius has gone completely nuts. What's going on? Why can we not have people connect? Oh, it's that. Switch it to none, if that's how your system was working, and hey, it all works again. But that now is in there, and that is the default setting. So this require message auth can catch you out of your configuration, did not require or supply it. The default is on or required. Whether they change that, who knows? Because as you've already seen with the version 7 of OSPF and various and PPOE, they may change their mind. So watch out for these little defaults as they go on over the next sort of 12 months or more. You may find that they do change. Quite a few not so useful defaults. Oh, so many. Do we really need Telnet enabled, even if reset with no defaults equals yes? Hands up all those that use Telnet. Telnet, I will admit, I have had to use it in the past. Occasionally when a client has gone, oh, my router is like that, and you look and you go, oh, I can use Telnet because the SSH wasn't working, Winbox wasn't working. Telnet did. Mac Telnet worked. But yes, I'm absolutely dumbfounded. Why now, even in today's technologies, why are they leaving it on as a default? There's quite a few of the actual services. that I really do not understand. In IP services, you've got the API. Factory reset, no defaults. API, it's on. API secure, it's on. FTP, it's on. Telnet, it's on. SSH, it's on. Okay, we're finally into some form of encryption, but with none of all the extended crypto and so forth. And let's think, what's left? www, HTTP, insecure, it's, which one's off? The secure one, it's off. There is a reason. I'm sure you know the reason. You know the reason? No certificate. So yes, this is some of the things that I really do get stressed out with. And I know over the years we develop our own scripts and so forth to wipe out all these settings. But in my opinion, and I'm sure they will get to see the video, maybe, no, okay. They'll see it, what's his name? Victor. I'm sure he will see it on TikTok, Willy Tubes and everything else. They will see it, and hopefully I'll get the message. Please, if we say no defaults, we are educated enough, we are of a higher standard of consultants and professionals that know how to get to our router without all these bells, whistles, and tricks. Switch them off by default. Save us having to keep remembering or having scripts that we have to keep updating to switch off these things. It could be argued that a new router being commissioned does not need Telnet, Winbox, API, FTP, or SSH enabled. True? Do you need layer 3? Are you going to put that router 100 kilometers away into a rack, switch it on, and then go, I'm just nipping back to the office to program it over the internet? No. Well, if you are, maybe there's a reason. But generally speaking, newly commissioned systems, here's my laptop, here's a router. Straight in, layer 2. Okay, I might use Mac Telnet. At this point, that router is perfectly safe. It is not on the internet, unless, of course, your laptop's forwarding. But otherwise, really, the router should be blank. There should be, we are building it from scratch. We want to know exactly what this router has got construction of. Are you really going to install a brand new router with the defaults into your network, or are you going to use at least reset no defaults equals yes? Come on, honesty here. Who does just put the router on a network and tries to program it with its full layer 3? With admin, and okay, some of them might have a password, if you can decipher whether it's a B81LI0, trying all the combinations. Let's be honest, most of us now are brute forcing to try and get into the damn things because we can't work out what the characters are. So, layer 2. That's my opinion. It's not anybody else's opinion. It's what I would stress to, and I would teach that you use if you're going to configure these new things. Do not use layer 3. You don't need it. You're professionals. You understand that layer 2 has to be there to start with, and we have the means to do so. Mac Telnet. Chances are you are resetting with no defaults and you have a direct layer 2 access to it, meaning you could just log in via the Mac Telnet or Mac Winbox. Configure basics. Remove admin. Add a new username and password combination, and only then start to add your router switch config. This, to me, is the defaults that should be wiped out. Why is router boot auto upgrade not enabled by default? Let's be honest. We contact MikroTik. What is their first response? Have you upgraded? No. Oh, have you upgraded the router boot? Yes. Have you rebooted it for the second time? Yes. It still doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Now we might look at it. It's not ticked. It's not enabled by default. It really should be. Do you agree? No. Okay, I'm all open for questioning, and as I said, I like to keep it an open forum at this point. please, by all means, and this is no criticism, this is not a pick on, but go for it. I agree, it will be upgraded automatically or whatever, but you can downgrade it. You do. Okay, 1,000 customers, but you do actually have the option to downgrade. If you downgrade the operating system, the router boot will be there as a downgrade. You upgrade it to downgrade. So, I mean, it's a very valid question, and I'm not trying to put anybody off, but yeah, I'll come to you in a second, but the gentleman at the very back there. Completely, 100% valid. Thank you very much for that. Yes, there are times when we could just go to the customer and go, just leave it alone. But yes. You, sir.
In every company where I work, if you enable this option, you will be fired the same day.
Really?
Like, I mean, it's too dangerous because you're not in control when you're upgrading, what you're upgrading. It just makes no sense. You want to try on one device in specific time under controlled testing and understand all effects proportionally. But if you just enable it randomly upgrade whatever time, whatever device.
It is only upgraded. I'll stop you there, sorry. It'll only be upgraded as and when the operating system is upgraded for the second reboot. So, valid, I understand the company policy, that is perfectly valid, but it will only be available as an upgrade once the operating system has been upgraded. So if you go from 7.15 to 7.16 and you have the tick box on the enabled, only at that point will the upgrade to the router boot be available. And if you then go downgrading, you downgrade, you can then go, you'll look at the router after it's come back online again after the downgrade, and it will show you router boot has been updated. It hasn't, it's been downdated, downgraded, it's the Latvian logic, it will be reduced. So I understand your company's policy, it's a good policy, but obviously I'm now trying to explain that sometimes disinformation, understanding the process. Any others? Are you still now disagreeing with me that really it should be on auto? Okay. Yes, sir.
I should only mention that I've seen tons of routers who had old router boot and were performing really weird. So
That's the word to use. Weird. Weird. If you have an old firmware, router boot, and you're on version 7 and you're still running 3.14, weird is not the... my router's just... Oh yeah, have you checked your router boot? I mean, it's the first thing MikroTik will tell you. Check your router boot. Because they know. Now, to give you a little bit of insight to my knowledge and what I believe that the router boot is, I'm sure there are some of you, if not all of you, that understand that when you switch a computer on, before the fancy graphics and the flash screens, there used to be an option that you could go, press F2 or press delete. What would happen on your computer the moment you did that before it got to the operating system? BIOS. Where did router OS have its roots? i386, x86, PC, Intel, whatever, the computers. So these computers that they were building router OS to build on would have a BIOS. The firmware, the router boot, what do you think? Could it be the BIOS? Stands a good chance. The reason I'm sort of partly aware of this is there was a particular incident, and some of you may know my story on this, but the RB 2011, roll back a bit, many, many moons ago, back in 2010, 2011, and it was Zagreb, Croatia, the mum. They were everywhere. The 2011, what was the freebie? The 2011 And why? It was going to be the dog's danglies of routers. It was going to be the real one. We were all waiting for it. Oh dear, what a doorstop. What a nail. It was okay as a router, don't get me wrong, there were things. But the original Mark I, the Ethernet ports on the gigabit, because this was like, wow, we finally got gigabit. Actually, we had gigabit back on the old 500 series and the 680, but no, this is the first time we've got it as a desktop, we've got gigabit. If it could communicate with the necessary hardware, like Cisco's, modems, it could negotiate to a gig. Oh, no, it couldn't. In the UK, we were just branching out into VDSL. Yeah, I know you guys in Europe have been having fiber for many years. The UK, we're still sat there on what we call Shanghai's donkey, waiting for the internet to keep up. And you guys are all flying through with gigabit networks. No, we're still on 56 dial-up. We finally had VDSL, and the mass rollout of the British Telecom's VDSL router was either Huawei or then what was the other one? That's it, ECI. Now, they both had variant differences. They looked almost the same. The Huawei could be hacked easily. Yes. The ECI, not so easy. You had to JTAG it and everything else. But the Huawei, you plug it into the gig port, and it could handle jumbo frames, because we could also work with PPOE and be able to get a full 1500 byte packet through with the overhead on top. No, we can't, because these gig ports on the 2011, 10 meg. It would auto sync 10 meg. No, force it to 100. No, it won't do 100. Well, it's gig. We know they can do gig. No, it won't do gig. The 2011 Mark I, the gig ports would not handle a gig auto negotiation. Even if you forced it, it would not happen. I remember the router boot having its own version number that would increment every time they updated it. Now, the firmware represents the OS version. We have no clue if they've updated it or not. We just have to make sure the numbers match. If you look at some of the old wiki pages, you'll find version 12, version 14, version 3 point this, 3 point that, then it stops. I think 3.14, I think was the last one we ever saw. At the time of the 2011, there were firmware router boot updates almost on a weekly basis. Update, update, update. That's where my mind started to think, this is the BIOS. This is the original basic instruction set that loads up when the router or the computer starts to fire up. It's grabbing that code, programming the hardware EPROMs, and all the necessary internal hardware with the firmware. Hence why I think it's a BIOS. That's my theory and my reasoning. I've never actually verified it. Please tell me now. Do you think I could be correct, or you're thinking along the same lines as me, hopefully. So, router boot upgrade. I am of the mindset that really it should be kept up to date. If there is an issue, it is easy enough to downgrade it using upgrade. There you go, command line. I should have copyrighted this, because if this was my idea, yellow with black, all my books are yellow with black. I have a mass toner expenditure on yellow, because all my books have these configs. At least this, then, spelling mistake, first one. This says it should be at least this then survives a system reset. If you tick the box and then do system reset, no defaults, it stays. The only time it moves and disappears, net install. So it does stay. It's one of those defaults that once you've ticked, it stays there. This is another one again, IMO, in my opinion, the public community set to read. If I had my way, I'd also ask for version 1 and version 2 to be removed now, because I really don't think we need it. Maybe you do, maybe you're still running old versions of SNMP, but quite frankly, we should be looking for the most secure possible. So these defaults, or these options, get rid of them. I really don't think we should be broadcasting this the moment it's switched on. That is a default. I instantly, before I even touch it, I'll switch that off to no read. I don't want read, I don't want write, I don't want anything. Or I'll even create my own community. Here comes another one of those defaults that survives the no defaults. You ready? Cloud NTP. Do you know it's there? It's on by default. It survives the no defaults. Do you know what it does? Have you ever tested it? Have you ever Wiresharked it? I brought this up in 2018, I think it was, in my security presentation in the UK. And I did have Caspers come running down the room at the end to explain that, there's nothing Orwellian, as they put it, there's nothing dangerous about it, and they are not spying on you or anything. Cloud NTP dials home, contacts MikroTik's time servers, so we're led to believe. It is encrypted, so we're led to believe. I stop it there. They know where it's coming from. It's switched on by default. Sure, our routers need time because there's no batteries in there. Remember the MTCNA question? There are no batteries in the routers. It can't keep time. It relies on the Linux tick, 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 and it converts the tick to how many million it is to today's time, place, and everything else. If your router goes offline, the clock stops. Switch it back on, and it will start back at the last point there was something in the log. Oh, look, it's only been off 2 minutes. Has it? Or was it 2 days ago? Well, no, actually, no, it says 24 hours ago. No, that was the last time anything in the log appeared. Ah, so when did it go off? Who knows? Who knows? The reasoning for the Cloud NTP says the moment it picks up an internet feed, grabs the time. Great! Just be aware where it's getting that time from. I have had systems suddenly go 2 hours out in the UK. Didn't realize this was an option. I wouldn't say it was sneaked in. It came in. I didn't read the change log. There it was, Cloud NTP. It survives the no defaults equals yes. It is on. Me, the first thing I realized with my script now that does all the defaults to how I like, switched off. I'd rather have my own time server, please. I know where it's coming from, and I am not going to start passing my location home. There it is. Always on. Up to you and how you're thinking of security. Shoot. Just the time. You go to a store. I have the store card. I have my Tesco points card. I have my Nectar card. I have whatever countries and whatever Stroop. They know your inside leg. They know that you eat beans on a 2-day basis. You have your porridge, your toast, your bread. It's a mass of data. Is it just the time?
So here it's just exposing your location because it's exposing your IP address. But at the same time, people have less concern using Google and DNS.
What do you think they could achieve from just your location? From a sales point of view? We have 20,000 units in Brazil. We have 5,000 in America. We have 40,000 in Europe. Where do we target? Where do we send out the sales team? Which country is not doing as well as we'd expect? It's just the time. We can either be paranoid with the aluminium hats, or we can be just thinking a little bit further out the box. I'm not saying it's dangerous. I'm just putting it out there. This is for your own opinion and your own choice. I'm just giving you the options and the thoughts. Neighbor discovery. Neighbor discovery. Innocent? What does neighbor discovery tell you when you're trying to look at that router? Everything. You're a hacker. It tells you the operating system, the version, tells you the name. It doesn't give you the username and password, but they're little bits of detail. You could be in Latvia, and you know that it's actually based in the UK, because that's what the NTP has told them. Little bits of detail. Configure it to stop bleeding information into the wrong hands. don't have it on the WAN. Now, if you left the system defaults in there, yes, of course, it's switched off. Nobody sees it on the WAN side. So if you do a wipe of your router, just have it in mind that there is this information that you've used. Oh, it's all right, I know it's in my neighbors. I'll just click the MAC address. I'm at layer 2. Hey, I'm in. So can other people know your details. It's only little bits of information. It's always there. No defaults equals yes. Oh, it's still on. Well, that's strange. I did no defaults. It's on. Port 2000, UDP. I've got a firewall. You wouldn't need the firewall if it was switched off. Yes, it's all right. It's got authentication ticked. Brute force. There's no method other than your firewall to actually detect how many times it's been hit. It could be there brute force over and over and over again. Switch it off. There it is. There are times when defaults need to be adjusted. I get that. I really do. But I have on occasion had to investigate MTU issues more often than not because of clients' network problems. There's been a mix of MTU values. Oh, look, it's an MTU problem. Granted, Roger, yes, yesterday we had an MTU issue. But realistically, how often we get to a network, is it MTU? Or is it, oh, the DNS has stopped working? Oh, proxies got in the way. Things like that. Sometimes we do jump the gun. We do think, oh, it's straight, oh, it's an MTU issue. No, it's your ARP table's just filled up and you can't get any more in there. All sorts of weird things. There are many opinions, best practices in what should the MTU be set to. Just remember this, if you're communicating with a wider area network, it's likely to be 1500, generically. Do the same. Don't try to be clever. Unless, of course, this is all internal, fine. You may have a standard that works better internally with jumbo framing or whatever, that's fine. But I'm just giving you a clue that realistically, MTU is normally the last on my list if I'm trying to diagnose an issue, generally speaking. There is a gotcha. You may be aware of this. I'm looking at something, blimey, really? There is a gotcha in how MACs are generated on bridge interfaces. Who's aware of this one? If you've been in my classes at MTCNA, you will be aware of this one. 8 identical routers. You just had a box of routers, so you're sending them out to customers, whatever. No defaults equals yes, you've wiped it. Create a bridge and apply. Chances are the bridge interface MAC will be the same on all of them. It's been randomly generated, but it'll be the same. Guaranteed. There'll be at least 4, 5, maybe 6, and I have more than once had it in a class, all MACs, exactly the same. They do a second bridge. It's just fluke. Put a second bridge on. The odds are slightly different. 3, 4, 5 out of 8 may have the same. Do another one, a third one. 2 or 3 may be the same, until the randomization starts to really kick in. Trouble is, a lot of us are sort of, mindset, oh, I've just created a bridge, I must make that MAC fixed. I don't want a random one. I don't want it to be picking up from the interface that's plugged in, or et cetera, et cetera. I'll copy that and paste it into the admin MAC. That's great, unless you've got 8 routers in the class, or even in a particular circuit, all being bridged together, and they've all got the same MAC. Oh dear. Layer 2, all the same MAC. What a problem. I have never had to touch these settings either. DNS timers, sessions, queries. This is a couple of things that I've come across that clients, or should I say IT technicians, have played with. DNS, I'm sure you've all seen it. Generally speaking now, I must admit, I don't even enable this on a lot of core routers. I've come across so many routers where it's switched on. Oh, yeah. We want everybody to use us as a DNS server. Really? Have you not got a properly designated DNS system like that gentleman was selling us last night? I'm not actually being paid for that, or I'm just mentioning it. Okay. I have got to the habit in the last 12 months, some networks I've now just switched off completely. I'd rather have a generic DNS system that is handling it properly, is secured, and it is just one service, one machine that I can manage with the correct security. I do not want my router to be probed because of a DNS issue. No disrespect to MikroTik, but sometimes they're a little bit slow to fix things and bugs and holes. So therefore, leave it off. Yes, it's required for the router to do, say, updates and things like that, or it may have to do an FQDN translation. But generally speaking, I leave it switched off. But these, I've never messed with them. I've been playing with MikroTik since early 2000s. I have never had to mess with them for any reason other than to put them back. Except this. A client decided that the huge amount of DNS requests hitting the router needed fixing. Their fix, they added 3 zeros to the connections and 3 zeros to the TCP sessions. They decided it needed to be handling more because it was getting so much DNS traffic, they needed to handle more. Yeah, you can guess what happened. Another client did not see the point of having such a short cache timeout and increased it to 30 days. You can guess what happened. They only realized their mistake when the outline network sites could not be accessed as they were using dynamic DNS to reach them, and the dynamic IPs had changed. These are things that I've come across because people think they know better than some of these defaults. A few more version 7 changes regarding defaults, and I'm going to whiz through these now. IP root defaults have visibly disappeared from root creation in the Winbox. That does not mean that you are not setting scope, target scope and distance. They are there. They now appear as a default once it's been entered. Just because it's not in the box anymore, they get filled in automatically. Yes, I had a client that didn't realize the defaults were inserted automatically. What did they do? They manually set target and scope. Problem was they got it back to front. So they set their target scope to 30 and their scope to 10. Problem was compounded by the fact that they had OSPF running. OSPF's scope value by default, 20. So what happened? All their OSPF routes were being taken into account for recursion. It was an absolute mess. They couldn't understand why the route table was so slow. That's why. Oops. IP settings. Nothing untoward here. Or is there? I mentioned it earlier on about forwarding. 911s, please state the nature of your emergency. I can't reach Facebook. My internet is broken. Untick it. Your router has now been turned into a brick. It will not route. One tick, one default. Thankfully, it survives and no defaults. It will always stay ticked. Why have they got it? I don't know. Basically, it stops forwarding. Ultimately, I'm sure most of you are aware that the kernel, the core, is Linux. It's built into the Linux kernel, therefore forwarding. If you wanted your laptop in Linux to be a router, you would switch on forwarding. If you just wanted to connect to Facebook, you don't have it. The routers have it. It's amazing. One tick just kills it. That's all that has to be done. Untick it and apply. Your router's now a brick. What else have we got? Oh yeah, it's a brick. More IP settings. Oh, 48 seconds, hang on. Max neighbor entries, 16,300. This is the new version 7 type. It has varied a little bit. The old version 6 used to be 1,092 by default. Some were allowed to be altered, some aren't. And the ARP timeout is defaulting to 30 seconds. It used to be, and I don't know when it changed, around about 5 minutes. There are various opinions, arguments as regarding what they should be, but to be fair, leave them alone. They generally work. This can cause havoc if it's played with. It's too big a value and you crash the router because of memory exhaustion. Too little, slow, intermittent network experience to the end user. If you've ever attended the boot camp, shameless plug number 4, we do these network games and we have set it to 1. ARP timeout 5 minutes, 1 ARP, what happens? Well, it worked. Oh, no, it stopped. Oh, I'll wait 5 minutes. Oh, no. So be careful with the settings. Yeah, the timeout, particular setting is best left alone unless you know it to be causing problems. Raise it too high and you risk stale information. Lower it too much and you risk excessive broadcasting. If you've jumped over straight into version 7 and never used version 6, then go grab a coffee, because this is just reiteration of some stuff. OSPF keep alives and dead times are now actually set. I'm 30 seconds over, sorry, Lorenzo. He's not looking. These have not changed. In early versions of version 7, it was CLI only, and timings had to be entered. Now the defaults are visible in Winbox, and there is no cause to panic. They are the same as they've always been. BGP, keep alive, hold timers. They haven't changed either. They're not visible. Please don't think you need to start entering things like that. They will be there by default, and the defaults there are on the screen. The whole time, 3 minutes, 180 seconds. I'm nearly there, don't panic. Watchdog. You know it's there? System, Watchdog, you know what it's for? I know. I did have an extra, because you, yeah. Cut the slide. Your router, switch, has rebooted you to Watchdog, rebooting it. Do you, A, disable Watchdog? Or do you try and work out why your router locked up? A does tend to be the answer for quite a lot of people that aren't in the know. I disabled Watchdog and now my router is not reachable. What do I do? Yeah, just laugh. There is one IT guy that I owe so much to in compiling some of these default edits I mentioned, but he will remain anonymous. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, and I hope to see some of you at the boot camp.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions? Yes.
We're talking about changing all these defaults. There's about 1,500 settings on a router OS, right?
Yep.
So I've got 1,200 routers. There's 1,500 settings per thing. I am not going to do that by hand. Obviously, I'm not an idiot. What are people using for large fleet management? Terraform?
From that point of view, I'm not aware of what they are using. I mean, as there are various third-party products that can control these sort of things. Myself personally, I do have what I call a dial home script that is constantly calling back to basically a PHP system and Java-based that I've written myself. So if I do need to target specific systems, then I'll look at my database, my very crude ticker box. Yeah, that'll do. I don't need fancy graphics. I don't need eye candy. I don't need CSS. I write it, Notepad and HTML. Update, 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 time, boom. The router then picks that message up because it's sent out on the API. It'll download the requirement, and then at the time that I've set, it'll reboot or it'll send the settings. Typically, from a security point of view, all my routers are locked. There's a gentleman over there who knows this now because I have literally only got one backdoor password to the routers, and there was another IT guy that would randomly log in. Not anymore. I know where he's going. He did ask for the backdoor password once because he couldn't get in. Within 2 hours, every single router updated with a new password. So yes, there are techniques. Third party, I don't know, because I'm a freebie guy. I'll write it myself. I don't do sales, so I don't know, and that's cool. But valid question. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be that issue with updating. Dude, I think, used to be able to do certain parts till the dude left and a new dude came along and whatever. But yeah, any more? I've got good hearing.
Actually, I haven't question. I have one tip for
Brilliant.
IP Cloud.
Yeah.
By default, we can use CHR free version, and IP Cloud doesn't work.
Yeah, obviously on the CHR, it needs to dial home anyway. Otherwise, it says, oh, your license has expired.
Too late.
Yeah. Oh, damn. That's another $900 or whatever, $295. Anything? Sir, Tim. I know Tim now. I've known him for some years on Signal, but now I've put a face to it.
Cheers, Barry. Just to comment on the IP forwarding.
Yep.
We found it quite useful if you're just doing switching and there's lots of VLANs coming into it.
Granted.
You can just worry about your input rules and forget about all of your forwarding.
It is a layer 3 functionality. Obviously, if you're looking at a switch, what are switches? Some of them are a bit confused. They become layer 3, but yes, valid point. Absolutely valid. This is what I'm looking for because every day is a school day, even though I'm out there teaching and training in my new training center.
Other questions?
I'm 5 minutes over.
No. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Barry.